Hello, guys. How's it going, everybody?
Doing good.
Fellas,
How are you doing?
I just thought I'd do a little pop-up show. We got a hell of an injury report today um, for the Bucks game tonight against the Saints. They're as beat up as we are, so that injury report is like it balances things out to me. Our biggest injury is, of course, Tristan Wirfs. You know, he's out with the ankle. Um, Antoine Winfield is, I think he's doubtful. Yeah, he's doubtful, so he's probably not going to see Winfield tonight. Mike Edwards also is doubtful, so that's a blow with Antoine and Edwards out.
right?
Bunting's doubtful. Oh, what we got here? Cameron Brate's questionable. All the questionable ones, I don't even know how to address them. Some will be there and some won't, I guess. Fournette's questionable. Gage is Gage has been
Jesus.
questionable all year long, right?
Wait, Gage is still a Buccaneer? I'm sorry, I forgot.
I mean, what the hell?
Him and Kyle Rudolph. I think those two are in the witness protection program.
Yeah, you'd think we'd at least see Kyle Rudolph out there chip blocking for Wirfs for Smith or over there on the other side. Gadecki's questionable too. He's got a foot injury.
And Johnny, you and I have had this conversation this time, and we know this time of year. Pardon me while I'm driving. Just a quick weather report here on Boots on the Ground in Tampa Bay. It's 82 degrees. It's going to be a great night for football over there. There's very little humidity. Well, there's humidity, but then again, the New Orleans Saints are also from the humidity state, so there's none of that kind of advantage tonight. The weather is going to be a completely impartial subject for tonight's game, so it's going to be gritty, and you and I have talked about this. We don't know what kind of game we're going to get yet.
No, we're going to get an ugly game. I know that. It's always an ugly game. You can guarantee a Saints-Bucks game to be ugly. Okay?
Yes.
I see. That's where when I was questioning why you would put that game on a Monday night game, that's not even just because the Bucks are playing bad now. That's just, and the Saints are playing bad, but that's for any time because those are some really ugly games, man.
That's a great point. You got to imagine, Alec, and good to see you, brother Alec. Got that Simeon Rice jersey on today. It's probably one of those things where they were like, all right, you can see the algorithm, the way the schedule makers algorithm works. It's like, all right, it's Tom Brady, it's the Bucks. They won 55. They won the South last year. The Saints are the obvious choice to be second place or maybe first in this division. So it algorithms out. They can't flex out of a Monday night game, but you can imagine the NFL is thinking, oh, if we couldn't have put the Chiefs and the Bengals on Monday night, they'd probably
be thinking about. Oh my God! They don't have an excuse because they always are ugly games between the two. You know, so
You could thank the NFL for flexing the Sunday night game for next weekend because no one wants to see the Broncos on prime time.
That's a great point. And Johnny, first of all, your point, because you're the one who brought me around to this, is the reason why this is an always ugly game is because divisional games. Your teams are made to first win their division, so you make teams up to play the teams in your division. And the Saints and Dennis Allen's defense, even with Sean Payton, was geared to, and they were dominating the Bucks. But as far as the schedule, Alec, now that you mention it, I love the fact that I was reading Football Morning in America this morning, Peter King from SI, and he's talking about the flex and this and that. And I like the fact that he still says that next week or 2 weeks from now, the game where the Bucks will host the Bengals, not to look past the Saints or the 49ers next week, but they said CBS, there's no way they'll let go of that game. It's funny in this day and age, Johnny, sorry to keep talking, but we remember a time when CBS and NBC, and you didn't have stations crossover. And these days, it's just a free-for-all. Let's just get the best games on because it's all about ratings.
Yeah, it is. And division games are always good numbers games for the broadcasters. So, I was talking to you about that earlier today. The whole Saints and AFC North and all that. They built the Saints. We have such a hard time with the Saints because they built their team because they got tired of getting beat by the AFC North. The AFC North is. Even the Browns have dominated down here. I mean, people talk about we lost to the Browns this year, but we lose to the Browns a lot. Okay, we lose to the AFC North a lot because they go with a beefier linebacking core. They go with beefier offensive linemen. They go with beefier. It's power versus speed, And so far in that equation, the power has always won out against us. That's why the Saints moved to a heavier package, heavier defensive linemen, heavier offensive linemen, heavier linebackers. Instead of relying on their speed, they're relying on their power to get into to break through the lines and shit. So that's always been that way. And eventually, well, it wasn't that way with the 2002 Bucks, except with the Saints.
I was at that game when we went to New Orleans. I've told this story. I love it. First year in the division, my wife and I, Kathleen, we travel left right from Thanksgiving dinner. We drove up 75, made a left on 10, went in New Orleans. The Bayou Classic was that Saturday with Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. And then that was the first time we played that Sunday night out there in New Orleans. And man, they did beat us. It seems like New Orleans has usually had our number. And I think that's one of the reasons why Bucks fans are approaching this game so I was going to say serendipitously, but cautiously is because we need this game to get right. Johnny, you and I already talked. Next week going out to the West Coast is going to be tough against the Niners. It doesn't get easier coming back against the Bengals, but the Bucks need to get right with this game tonight, but it's going to be a gritty NFC South battle.
Yeah, and the Niners to me are an easier defense. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But,
yeah, it does. But yeah,
but we match up. I think okay, not great, because that is a great defense, but it's speed on speed.
Yeah, and
that gives me a little bit more hope with that defense than facing like AFC North or the Saints defense. I chose to pick the Bucks tonight. I know I've done it like 3 times this year. Mixed results.
I took your approach this week.
You picked against them?
I took your approach. I was like, you know what? Maybe it's this. Maybe when we both pick them,
hey, it's Scott.
It's always like one has to pick them and one other person doesn't have to pick them. So I was like, you know what? I'll bite the bullet.
That's good. Take it one for the team, Alec. Appreciate it.
I already have a bad record this week anyway, so might as well add on to it. My predictions were so terrible.
Well, Alec, Johnny, you can talk about bad picks. The numbers this year on upsets. What were those numbers again, JD? You have them offhand. I mean, it's been crazy 2022.
It is. 2 weeks ago, there was 62 upsets in the league. And that was 2 weeks ago, and that was a record for any season in the NFL before.
And Johnny, the conspiratorialist in me wants to say, and legalized gambling go hand in hand, but you hit the nail on the head with the hammer when you spoke about the word parity. This league, I think, more than any time in our lives, this may be the most parity, and it'll maybe continue. This is probably the most parity that I've ever seen in the NFL in my lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. I think that what they have been trying for years and years to do, that parity, is finally working, and it coincides with the fact that Brady left Patriots. So the Patriots were the really only dynasty out there, honestly. You see, it was always a different team facing them each year in the playoffs or facing them each year in the Super Bowl. And now with them stepping back, it's opened up the field. Look at the AFC North right now. Look at the AFC East right now. I mean, it's up for grabs, man. Dolphins, Bills, even the Jets. Look how good the Jets are looking, man.
Well, and Alec, let me ask you this, because you could bring a young man's perspective to this. Not that I'm calling Johnny myself old, but in this day and age, when you've got OBJs doing recruitment visits in the middle of or in early December, and you've got quarterbacks jumping teams, it seems to be Tom Brady started that fad in 2020, but it's been going on forever. You've had exceptions, not rules, but now you've got teams flipping quarterbacks every year, almost equivalent to what's going on in college. Is that making the NFL, Alec, that a little bit better and more competitive, or are you also feeling like you're going to lose out on some of your traditional or historic conference behemoths that control those conferences for length of time?
I mean, I like it a little bit, and not as much.
I got something for you. And Scott Thaller out there in the chat, I got something for you here. The Rams are the first Super Bowl champions to follow up a losing season with a losing season since the 2003 Buccaneers.
Oh, God. We remember how bad that was.
Well, just think about it. You're second place there, too, Rams. You were
Johnny.
the second team to win the Super Bowl at your house, and you're the second team to do. You can't be first place, nothing, can you?
Yeah, but you know what? The Bucs didn't have Sean Hockley in 2020 to help us. I'm kidding. I'm still burnt. But Johnny, let's think about this. I'm shooting from the hip here. I remember 2003, and that Super Bowl hangover was terrible. I'm trying to remember because we've seen what's happened with the Rams this year, and of course the Buccaneers last season still won the South and made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. But 2003, it was pretty early on. It just seemed like. It seemed like that Buccaneers defense that had been climbing that hill and climbing that hill and climbing that hill, and you finally achieved that hill. I'm never going to put Derek Brooks down or Johnny Lynch or Ronnie Barber or Warren Sapp or Simeon Rice or anybody, but it seemed like they just had a year where they just like, okay, we got to dial it back for 1 year, whether they want to admit it or not, because 2003, that was a Super Bowl hangover.
2003 was the loss. That's when our anchor went to the Raiders.
Oh my gosh. Wait. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think also. Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, but the entire team, it looked like, because like I said, we were battling and we were always we were Dungies, and it almost felt like that little bit of offense that John Gruden brought in here teamed up with that defense. And by the next year after they win the Super Bowl, it just seemed like the rest of the league was just ready to slap it upon us, and they did. And man, no one's taking it easy on those Rams this year at all, and I don't mind that at all.
No, and Packers as well. That tells you right there that there's something going on in the league. The parity is in action, because you look at what the Lions did yesterday. Look at what Minnesota's doing. Look where the Packers are at.
Crazy.
You know?
Alec, you're a gambling man. Is it just, though, that the parity exists so much these days, and that's why it seems like it? Because I think a lot of your general NFL fans will tell you that there's a lot of games being decided by some officiating. And, Johnny, I don't mean to play that conspiratorial card, but is it just because there's so much parity, or do you not, as a betting man, Alec, I know you like to put a few shekels down every now and then, do you not notice games that are being decided by a call or lack thereof?
I used to think like that. Like, I thought it was like, in my whole mindset, it's usually you're on the right side or the wrong side. But at the end of the day, the house always wins. So it's like,
you got to play the game.
I think it was rigged, but you're just never on the right side. There's always two sides to it. That's why
Johnny.
If it's rigged, then both sides always get screwed, because there's
I used to think
falls
like
both ways, man.
Well, Johnny,
one team will get screwed. The next week, that team will win out on a play, a call.
But,
so,
and I don't mean to put down a Shield. I mean, Lord rest. We all, God bless the Shield. But with so much parity, but so many games, so many calls, so many things this year, so many upsets, how many games more than ever decided by one score? There are some people that have come at me and they've said, actually, I'm the one who said this, but I'm just posing the question. Is the NFL in danger of starting to become more like the WWE? And by that, I mean, you got the USFL, the XFL. It's becoming an entertainment league and legalized gambling. I don't think the Shield would ever purposely throw these games, but at the end of the day, isn't it always going to be good for ratings and for gambling and everything if there's a lot of drama and heated stuff?
There's nothing going on with officiating now that hasn't been going on since the league started. It really hasn't. 50 years in football. I see the same thing. I hear the same complaints every single year from the 60s all the way through, man. It's the same thing. It's just more emphasized because we all get together on Facebook and we talk about it.
And all the media outlets I'm reading right now, You're Looking Live, right? The history of the NFL today with Brent Musburger, Irv Cross, Phyllis George, Jimmy DeGreek. And of course, back then, Johnny, do you remember? And sorry, I'm going old school on you today, but I'm feeling it for tonight. Do you remember a time, JD, before ESPN, all we had was our 5-minute news, our 5-minute sports on the 6 and 11, and we had to wait for it, not even an hour show on Sundays. It was a half an hour show. It came on before CBS, before the Bucks would go on, of course. And here's the thing, Alec. I'm going to make you feel sick to your stomach, but you
Ray,
may
I
even
have to
remember
get
too,
to
my
this
friend.
comment, dude. Let me
Oh,
get
please,
this.
brother.
Explain parity for those in the back. Okay, parity is diversity. When no one powerhouse is dominating completely, when each team has an actual chance to win out. That's
Yeah.
or that's parity. That's what the NFL had been doing for years and years, ever since the Dallas dynasties and stuff. They were trying to break those dynasties up so that
Yes.
every team has a chance. So the Bills can actually get up there and get to a championship and maybe win it. And so
Yes.
the
Well,
Browns can have a shot at getting it's so that each team is equally collecting in their fandom.
yeah, I'll give you an example. NCAA in 2022, what the transfer portal is doing for college football. You're breaking up the Alabama, who was been basically number one, or they're, and of course now they're number 5. You can't even get them to have any losses. But now you've got parity in NCAA. Did you guys realize that of the 50 top quarterbacks in the country this year, 25 of them have been in the portal at some point? Free agency has come to college football. I don't know if you love it or not, but it's here.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love the fact that Deion Sanders is going to be my alma mater's head coach now.
I didn't know Colorado was your alma mater.
Yeah, the Buffs. Go Buffs.
Oh.
So I'm guessing you guys saw that Deion Sanders telling his players to head the transfer portal. He's bringing his luggage with him.
It's not against the law. I mean,
hey man, if you look good, you play good.
hey, Johnny. Let me ask you this though, because I was reading this article today on The Athletic, and it was about the transfer portal. Today being the first day of that 45-day window, they've got 2 portals now in December, and again they have it in May at the end of spring ball. But the fact that these players in the transfer portal and stuff, it's actually quite advantageous for these players that have been at these colleges. But you imagine nowadays, if you're a high school recruit and you're being pitched by these colleges and you don't know, they may pitch you 5-6 years ahead like they used to back in the day. But nowadays, you don't know what the portal is going to have an effect on that school. So these guys in high school these days, they can't make their decision a year or two ahead of time. Maybe they aren't.
The schools can't go out there and just line up 50 quarterbacks anymore because these guys want to play. So if Alabama's sitting there with 10 quarterbacks behind the starter, those guys are going to want to go play and get their own name. So they're going to go off somewhere else where they're guaranteed to play.
Spreads the wealth.
Yeah.
Now, Alec, what I was going to hit you with is here's, as we're celebrating, get ready for tonight's Buccaneers hosting the Saints on Monday Night Football. Loving it. And of course, Johnny, you were talking about Bucs Report will have a live post-game show, and also maybe in the Ben Zone, there's going to be a couple of outlets, which is great because I'm sure even though it's a Monday night and it's a work night, we're in a holiday season now. You can phone in on a Tuesday. You want to, hopefully the Bucs. I see a big runaway tonight. In case I lose you guys here, I'm in the car line, but Alec, I'm going to hit you with this. The half-an-hour NFL Today show I was telling you about. Imagine this back in the day, Johnny. You remember this, that Bucs fans, we would tune in and we would not get any Buccaneer news. There'd be like an also ran mention after they talked about the Cowboys or those Steelers. And then at 1 o'clock when the Bucs game would start, we'd go to whatever game was being covered here because of the 75-mile rule. We weren't even allowed to watch our Buccaneers if they were at home. That's just killed
the 80s, man, when you have to run to the Tampa Tribune and get that sports report every week, man. It was only a once a week report. It was on Sundays, man.
Yes.
Or was it on Thursdays? It was on Thursdays. It would come out on Thursday, and you have to run and grab that just to get the injury report, man.
Can you imagine? I mean, nowadays we're so fortunate. You can call it information overload, but you've got like you just did the injury report now. We're up to the minute. And I was pointing out that it was inside the NFL was a half an hour back in the 70s and the 80s. But yesterday, before I was getting ready to go to that next big thing with my kids, I'm flipping around and there's no less than 4 channels national that have at least a 2-hour pregame show on. I'm like, yeah, oh my goodness. And I love it.
And I think Slick, by the way, has a Bucks Reports pregame show on tonight.
Oh, definitely.
I know Slick does the post game. I'm pretty sure he does the post game. I know he does. I think he does 2 shows.
I know Ben's doing one tonight after the game.
Yeah,
I think for his show
on the Ben Zone. Yes.
Love being able to talk about. Johnny, you and I talked about this. I got my sleep last night. I'm gonna have a couple of beers tonight. I can't wait to and if those of you watching right now, get on to Ben Cornett's page, also in the Ben Zone, but he's already got the game thread up for tonight. Make sure you save that to your Facebook page, because I tell you what, no matter where you are, especially a Monday night game, you're probably at home watching it. It's still a work week. It's nothing better than to be able to real-time live be chatting and not only see what other people are thinking, but also say your piece as well. I love it. So that's on Ben Cornett's Facebook page. Got the game thread for tonight. And
yeah,
the Ben Zone.
Sure does. How's it going, Nathan? Ravens, what are you thinking, man? That Lamar Jackson injury. I don't know. You got Huntley there, so Huntley. I like Huntley actually. I really do.
It didn't look good for a minute though. It looked like the Ravens were going to lose yesterday, and then they pulled it out at the end.
Yeah, Tyler Huntley got that touchdown in at the end. Right. I guess Lamar Jackson's getting his MRI today, so we'll find out more about that. Let me get finished with this injury report. Akeem Hicks, questionable foot. And the last one on that list is Vita Vea, questionable foot. So I think Vita's going to play.
Yeah.
It would suck if he's not. That's for sure.
Johnny, we don't want to let the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton, be comfortable in the pocket there tonight. In fact, I'll throw this out there.
Did you just call Andy Dalton dog penis?
Red Rocket? Yeah, that guy's got layers and layers to him. But I'll tell you what, Buccaneer fans, let me give you this thought. Maybe I'm completely out there. Maybe he's not even available, but I think he is. The Buccaneers, this is the game I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a 38-3, 38-7 Buccaneers home victory. I hope the offense gets right early. Johnny, I already told you, I'd love it if the first play of the game was a play action and they go deep to Mike Evans like the bomb in North Carolina, or bomb in Carolina, only this time he catches it, opens everything up. And wouldn't it be great, Bucs fans, if not only do the Buccaneers get enough of a lead, but then they have to put Jameis Winston in, and maybe Jameis gets a little love too. Not a victory, not even close, but there's a few of us, myself included, not so much a Jameis Winston fan, but I think the kid's still got some pretty good game. I don't know if he's going to get a chance to show it or not. I know, Johnny. Alec, what do you think? You like Jameis Winston there, Alec? Okay. All right.
I mean,
Andy Dalton's a starter for a reason, man.
Yeah. Well, man, if Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea aren't providing it, and Shaq Barrett's already off the left side, we like Logan Hall. We think Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I'd like to see Carl Nassib, but I'm telling you what, we've got to blow up this pocket and make the Saints quarterbacks uncomfortable tonight, because they're trying to do the same thing to us.
I'm with Nathan on that one. He says, I need the Bucs defense to lock down Chris Olave.
Yeah.
He's got him on he needs him shut down on fantasy. So I hope we can help you out there, Nathan. I really do, bud.
Maybe we can get Mike Evans to get out of the sorry face club tonight and get happy. Maybe
Tim Witherspoon is answering a question for you. Jameis who?
Okay, Tim. I should have known to expect that from Tim, but yeah, I get it. I don't know. We're optimistic. Alec, what do you guys, and maybe you're saving them for the end. If you're not, then I'm going to have to let you go. I apologize before I get it's funny because my children's principal at their school here, big Bucs fan, he's got his big Devin White Power Rush jersey on today. But what do you guys see for a score tonight? Is it too early to give it to me? I already said 38-3. I'm going old school. I'm going all in on this one. What do you guys think?
I'm just hoping that they can score over 20 points. This low scoring offense that we've had and that you expect that. Everybody last year wanted to go to a running game and stuff, but we're not even getting the running game going. So we got to get something going tonight. I hope it looks like, if it matches the first game we had with the Saints, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Alec, what are your thoughts for tonight? What do you see for a score? What, you being optimist, pessimist? I know you already say you took against them just to even things out, but what's Alec's heart really say?
23-13.
Quit hating, Scott.
No, that's
Saints 31 bucks 17. I don't see it, guys.
Now he's a Rams fan. Take that into account.
Yeah,
he is the Rams version of Ray Kennedy.
Oh, that's not good. Not good for Rams.
He's a historian. He is a very, very knowledgeable historian about his team.
I tell you what, I'll give you guys a prediction here. If the same Buccaneers team that showed up flat in Cleveland last week, the same Buccaneers team that showed up flat in Carolina, this team that we've seen that could show up flat, if that team shows up tonight and the Saints have their way with us, I'll be hard pressed to figure out the rest of this season another victory.
Well,
and I'm
always you look at that Carolina game and see what they did after the Bucs. That's a scary team.
Whether it's PJ Walker or Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. Oh, wait, can't be Baker Mayfield. Just kidding.
He's flying to San Francisco as we speak.
I'll tell you guys what, this is going to, just as the NFL loves this, Tom Brady may already have plans to be, working in a Fox booth next year, but between the rumors, Johnny, you and I were talking about, to go back to New England because Mac Jones doesn't seem like he is the guy, although they also have the other guy who's the guy, but he's also a rook. But the romanticism, like, what's that, Alec?
No, they just announced who the new Oregon offensive coordinator is. Some fucking dude from UTSA. Will Stein.
Really?
Stein?
Yeah. It's our new co-offensive coordinator because the other guy wanted to follow his hopes and dreams and go to Arizona State. Leave then, please.
Johnny, you were Colorado Buffalo. I'm looking at that Colorado, that Big 12, right? I'm looking at the rest of the teams in there. A Stanford, a Cal, or Oregon, Nike.
I don't want to talk about Oregon. He's my arch enemy, dude.
I'm saying no, but there was no two better friends than Deion Sanders and Nike back in the day, and now Deion's at Colorado and Oregon is funded by Nike and Phil Knight, and you're starting to. Let me give you.
I know, Sean.
I don't mean to put. I don't mean to put down primetime, but it's not going to be as easy. And maybe he wants the challenge. It's not going to be as easy as it was at Jackson State. And I loved everything he did for the historically black colleges and universities.
It's the recruiting.
Yeah,
he's going to bring in some fans on them seats, and and that's what they need, dude. I don't expect his recruiting name won't even hit for 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So you got to expect it's going to be a rough start, but it always is. Look at Florida State, man.
No, I think his recruiting is going to be top. I think his recruiting is going to be top notch, but you still have schools like Stanford and Washington, and you got these are big institutions.
All right, Washington's not the powerhouse. Neither is Stanford that they used to be. You got Oregon as the powerhouse in that division right now. I think Washington.
Yeah,
might be a little bit competitive with them.
I just mean you got schools that you can sell recruits, especially with the transfer portal and the name, image, and likeness. You can tell a recruit, look, Coach Deion doesn't need you. But we're still Stanford. We're still the Washington Huskies. We're still.
You got breaking news for college football. DJ, whoever his name is entering the transfer portal after getting benched in the ACC championship.
I saw that Clemson quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not surprising anymore, though, is it, guys? The transfer portal. And like you said, Johnny, I can't say I love it or I hate it. I just hope.
You're going to get some transfers over to Buffalo, too.
Well, I also read that article. I read in that article today on The Athletic that what they're doing is, and maybe this is, get rid of the waste, but the kids that, Kennedy, sorry, guys, but the kids that are not, usually in the past colleges would hang on to guys and they would try to build them for 2 or 3 years, and then hopefully that they'd get that diamond out of that piece of coal. And these days there's no time for these scholarship kids, so these colleges are basically telling them, look, there's no future for you here. Why don't you go someplace else? And, some of those kids, when they went there, they realized, I'm not going to be a professional football player. I'd like to be, but I'm not. But I want to go get an education. And that's why I'm glad I got a scholarship to this big college. But then 2 years later, they've got 17 kids play your position in a portal. So the college is telling you, why don't you go someplace else? That's continuing to degrade the entire NCAA experience for a lot of these kids. And I hope at the end of the day, with legalized gambling and all the money, that somebody's looking out for these kids' best interests, not the ones that can afford or have agents, but the kids like my son who one day might be there by the hair of his chinny chin chin, and also because he's got a straight A grade point average. Sorry, I took it deep.
No, it's not. It's Alec is blowing up the messenger and shit. It keeps popping up.
No, it's a certain sports topic that we cannot say on the show. They had breaking news on a certain player. Huh?
Good. Let's don't talk about it then.
I know what that is.
This has got to be Sean Spencer. Sean, is this you?
Yeah, because he put Oregon versus UNC because my team faces his team in the Holiday Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
As long as DJ doesn't go to Oregon, I'm fine. But
Sean, I hate to say this, but after yesterday, you disappointed me, and I'm going for Oregon in this game just to be spiteful, man. Washington get a tie. Come on, man, a tie. Jesus.
Hey fellas, I'm so sorry for taking up your time and I talked too much. Thanks for having me. I gotta let you go before I get up here, but I will talk to you guys tonight. And don't forget,
I can put you in the back room if you want to pop back on before we end.
Oh, I appreciate it, JD. And Alex, good to see you too, brother. Love to see me on Rice Jersey.
All right. Appreciate it, Ray.
I'll let you have your final thoughts and stuff later on, a little bit. All right.
Thank you, brother.
All right, bud. You killed me, Sean. You killed me, man. So, yeah, let's see. Where was we at? We did the.
Oh, that was fast.
We did the.
Oh gosh.
We did the. Oh shit. The injury report. Let's talk about the actual game now a little bit. What do you see happening tonight? I know you're on the.
I mean, what do I want, or what's gonna happen?
What do you expect? What do you expect besides the ugly game? What do you expect to see tonight?
I expect, hopefully, a win. I don't know how, like, both, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't even, like, know my own team anymore. Not saying it's, like, a bad thing, like, not in a bad way, but it's
I don't
like,
think anybody knows their own team anymore. Look at Scott Thaler wasn't expecting the Rams to fall apart this year. Nobody in Green Bay saw what was happening there. Well, we thought that would happen if Aaron Rodgers left, right? But it didn't happen while he was there. And the Jets, they've been winning despite having a crappy quarterback. Now they got Mike White in there, and they look scary. So that's the diversity, that's the parity I've been talking about in this league right now. It's just, you can't blame it all on coaching. Everybody, if the Rams are falling apart with one of the better coaches in the league, Pete Carroll, he blows a what do you call it? The time thing. He could have blew a whistle a couple of times when he didn't. We've seen it all across the league. I mean, people are, and I think the coaches are relying way too much on these suggestions from PFF and stuff like that. They're statistical.
There's analytics.
Yeah, analytics. Thank you.
The stupid analytics.
Yeah, and I think that's got a lot to do with coaching mistakes going on. Is they're following the analytics like to a letter. They're afraid not to because they only got. It used to be coaches had 5 years to get their stuff together and prove themselves, right? That's out, man. If you're not proved yourself in a year or 2 years, then you're out. Very few owners outside Pittsburgh have patience for a losing season, or well, they have never had to deal with a losing season. But hey, Jenny, how you doing, there?
Ignore that message. It's for transfer portal numbers. 503 players in the transfer portal.
I still think the Bucks are going to win the division. I think they're going to win the game tonight. I would like to see a better score. I'd like to see them at least put up 27. You know, that's what we really need to see out there. Hi, Jenny. How you doing?
I don't know how to explain.
Watch your mouth, Scott. I'll put you in timeout.
Is Jenny on there?
Yeah, Sean, we've heard it a few times already mentioned this year. Analytics really are screwing up people. These coaches, they're so scared of their jobs now.
Wait, is Scott he's a fan of like all St. Louis teams, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can agree with him on one thing. That's about it. There's only one team in his state that I actually go for. But it's like
I don't want to hear about it. I know, wrong sport, man. Wrong sport.
Yeah, he'll know what I'm talking about. But it's like even last week, it's just one of those situations where they just kept forcing the ball
And
to
you're
Mike
still,
Evans.
yeah.
It's like I get it, his 1,000-yard season. I get it.
Well, a lot of those throws to Mike Evans, the deep throws, are basically just to get a penalty.
I mean I get that. Like I mean even Slick said that, but there's other players, even though kind of iffy on Sky Miller. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that one. He shows up randomly at sometimes, other times not so great.
Who's Scotty or Mike?
Scotty, like he's had some good games. Like it's kind of like one of those if A B receiver number one, receiver number two, go at number three. But usually number three is like Brait or Otten. But I'm guessing they're using Otten tonight more for like blocking. That's what I've noticed.
And
Because
what's his damn name? O'Keefe's basically a fullback. He's even wearing fullback number, throwback number. But that disturbed me immensely last week when you have Myles Garrett on Donovan Smith out there on an island. That you got. I don't care who your left tackle is. You got to have somebody there chipping. You can't. You could. I don't. It could have been Cam Brate. I don't care. I know Cam Brate ain't a great blocker, but it's the body. It takes time to walk around the body, and Tom Brady's got the quickest release in football. So come on, get somebody out there. Don't put somebody on. Don't put any of your tackles on an island. Not just Donovan, but especially over there on the right tackle right now.
yeah, it's just I hope like my final score is like 23-13, but that's just for wishful thinking. But
I'll be happy if we score. I'll be happy if we score more than 20 points. That's got to stop. We got to get some points going. We got and third down conversions. We got to increase them, and especially in the red zone.
Ravens week to week with knee injury, according to John Harbaugh. I was about to say Jim Harbaugh. What the fuck am I doing?
So
even when it comes to like this is the running back wise, because I think Leonard Fournette is coming back tonight, right?
he's questionable.
I wouldn't even risk it at that point.
Still, it's listed as a hip injury, so who knows?
I mean, at least
I know people want to see Rachaad White, but Rachaad White is more scat back to me. I'd play him more on the outsides, maybe get him involved in some screens, and then just let Leonard pound the middle of that field, man.
But like at least it's not like last season where when Fournette went out, we had to rely on what was it? I forgot his name already. What? Daniel.
What I'd like to see is like you were just talking about Scotty Miller. I'd like to see Scotty Miller on some breakaways out there, some slants with some breakaways, some crossing routes, breaking out of crossing route. I'd like to see Evan. They've been using Evans quite a bit. Most of his catches are inside 10 yards now. So let's get him in some position where he can get some separation. Let's draw up some plans where you can get separation with some of these guys, man. I'd like to see a lot more of that. Hey Ben, how's it going, buddy?
At least, but I was like, at least it's like, oh, that's his name, Keyshawn Vaughn. I was like, at least it wasn't like last year we had to rely on Keyshawn Vaughn when and Giovanni Bernard when Fournette went out.
Vaughn makes me pull my hair. I don't. He'll show up and have a great game one game, and then lose yardage next game. End up with a -5 on his stat sheet. I just, oh, and a lot of that is the game plan too. But hey, if Leftwich and friggin' Brady, if Brady and Leftwich draw it up and say this is it, that's what it's going to be. So
Establish a run, take your shots early. OBJ to the Eagles.
is that fact or is that?
Oh, Scott is trolling. No one.
I saw something earlier today about that too.
I mean, that would be typical Odell Beckham going to one that can get him into the playoffs. He wants the easy way to the championship as possible. Easiest way. Sounds like him.
I think on this one, establish the run and take your shots early. I think it's a mixture. Their defense is going to be predicated on what our first drive looks like. So if we try to run and they shut down the run, then that kind of plays into their game plan because they want us out there throwing the ball 50 times. And if they shut down the run, then they'll figure that we'll make it up. I don't.
You know, another thing they got to do?
Right now.
Capitalize on third down. Because if they would have capitalized on third down on Sunday, it would have been a whole different game.
That's what I said. We have to be better on third downs, third and shorts, and the red zone. Our red zone play has been awful this year.
Will you just accept Scott Taylor's friend request? I'll be honest with you, I have not seen that in my friend request. I don't see no friend request.
I haven't seen the hype video yet. I'd like to see that. Their hype videos are always on fire. Try getting the ball to Evans in the red zone once in a while now. I mean, his red zone targets have dropped tremendously, and I don't get it because that's your red zone guy.
Put Luke G at right tackle and Wirfs at left tackle next year.
Next year? Hopefully we'll have a different lineup next year. Well, if Jensen is, I don't know what his contract was for. I don't know if he signed a 3-year or a 1-year deal.
Oh, to Sean's comment. Well, I hope you can establish a field goal. Because what the fuck?
I just don't want him to go away from the run or the pass. I want him to keep it balanced enough to keep the Saints off guard. That's all I want. I want to see. Yeah, I agree with Drew here. This is what I was just fixing to say. I want to see an aggressive approach. I want to see him just. It's the right team to do it with right now. I mean, you ain't gonna have to play too much catch up. If they get a lead of 14 points on us, I don't know how they did it. It's special teams.
And don't worry, Sean. We'll establish a run if you can establish a field goal in overtime.
If his contract was 3 years, then we're going to see a much improved offensive line next year.
Yeah, it was 3 years. Mostly everybody that re-signed was 3 years. Okay. Fournette was 3 years. Jensen was 3 years.
I was really, really hoping to see Jensen come back this year and move Hainsey to
3 years
guard.
too.
Move Hainsey to guard. Then we had Shaq Mason and Hainsey and Jensen creating that pocket for Brady and opening up some lanes for the running game because our lanes are not staying open very long in the middle, and that's what we need, that north-south run. Absolutely. And don't be afraid of penalties. Not with the Saints. Just I know penalties suck, but sometimes you have to punch them in the mouth. You just really do. This is where we miss Jensen too.
Same, I miss his fire passion for the game.
Absolutely. Jensen in the middle, it makes a whole world of difference. He's the one that can slap the other guys upside the head and say, "Hey, get your shit together." He's the one that, and just like missing Sue and JPP on defense, those guys were the vocal leaders. They're the ones that'll walk up to the other players and slap them in the head and say, "Look, get your shit together." I mean, I love Vita, but he's not the vocal leader. He leads on the field with his gameplay, but he's not that vocal. He's like LVD.
And no, Sean, I will never sport that. I will never wear that.
Well, are you scared?
No. Next comment.
I've seen it.
I'm not wearing no UNC jersey. the heck I look like? Oh, fucking Ben. Oh, a tie.
It's a little bit rougher on the linebackers and when we're playing the Saints or the AFC North because they're playing a much bigger package. We're built for speed. The Saints, the AFC North, and a few other teams out there, they're built for power. They build their teams with the bigger linebackers, so that like you see Devin White trying to tackle these tight ends and they just dragging him down the field. That don't happen with those guys. That with the Saints and the other teams because they're built for that. They're built for that kind of power. The
Sean,
Bucks are built for speed, like San Francisco. San Francisco is built similar to the Bucks, so that matchup doesn't scare me nearly as bad as the Bengals matchup because the Bengals are a power team on their defense, and we're going to be facing the same thing again as we did with the Browns and the Ravens and the Steelers. It's a power versus speed.
Oh, by the way, Sean, there's more than just lime green. We have different colors. So,
yeah,
you know what?
all bright and ugly.
Just for that comment, I hope my team does beat you. Hope they beat the dog piss out of you guys.
All
Just
bright
for that
and ugly.
comment. Just for that comment. Hope both.
When is the Bengals game? In 2 weeks or 1 week? 2 weeks, I think. Right?
We play them. No, I think it's 2 weeks. We play San Fran next week.
Okay, so, geez, what a lineup. Yeah, Mixon should be back. I thought he was going to be back last game, but he wasn't. That's
Hey Sean, by the way, do you know that whooping you got by Clemson? Expect that same whooping for the Oregon. Don't worry.
all right.
That comment.
All right, guys. Tonight I'm going to cut this. This was only supposed to be a short show. We're already here for 48 minutes.
Okay, now he's just poking the bear.
I gotta say good night, guys, or good afternoon, whatever the hell it is now. Don't miss Ben Zone tonight. He's doing a post game show. So is Slick on Bucks Reports doing a post game show. So you got flip between those two. Don't miss the Ben Zone's game thread. I think Ben's got that up. He got that up really early today. We'll be in there and have a good game. Enjoy the game. You got anything to promote there, Alec?
I'll also reply back to Mr. Sean Spencer's comment saying y'all might as well be the dang Hawaii rainbows with all them colors. I've seen you guys choke. Don't worry. I keep the receipts. Don't worry. Make sure to keep your messenger open on December 30th.
All right. I'll end by saying this. Go Bucks, go Bucks, go Bucks. Panther Rams, you suck. Don't forget, everybody, Rams suck.